the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Shalom, 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 brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom, shalom. How are you doing? Yes, I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathered of Christ Church. I hope you all are doing fine. I see our usual members up in here. How are you doing? I see Sharon. How are you, Sharon? Lady Zionist, you be right on time, don't you? Yeah, you be right on it. Okay, Yolanda, all my brothers and sisters, Princess Judah Malak, how are you? I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly update. And yes, Israelite lives matter. Okay, it so happened I'm Judah, but we are going to roll out all of the shirts. Every tribe, lives matter. So you'll have those coming soon for all of you. But right now it's Judah, but it's all Israelites. And guess what? If Gentiles want a shirt that says Gentiles lives matter, we'll be open to send you one of those too. All right. How are you? I'm here in our Academy studio today. I'm in the Academy studio where we do the Academy live every Sunday starting at 9 a.m. Elder Lawya with the Hebrew, Shapat and I jump with the news, and after that, the lesson. But this is where it all happens right here. I got my library in front of me over there. Our garments on that side. I have my board or whatever. So this is the place where it all happens right here at Philadelphia branch of the Gathering of Christ Church. And I thought I would just give you a quick update before my meeting this evening. Yes, unfortunately for my Academites, sorry about that, but I have a meeting, a very important meeting with the Philadelphia body tonight going into the Sabbath, and I'm not going to be able to do Patreon for you this week. But don't worry about it. What I'm going to do in replace of that, strictly for this week, we're uploading the conversation we had with Austin Hollerman, the conversation of what's going on with the passports bros, all the perspectives on this. Why are brothers leaving the Western world to find love? Why are they going overseas? What is it? There's a lot of argument on every side. There's some saying they're just going to sow their oats, and there's others that are saying that there's more to it that meets the eye. What is this thing with passport bros? Well, I had a serious interview with them in the Academy last Sunday that went very well, and I didn't want to attack him or try to form an opinion. I wanted to have an honest conversation to why he chose to travel the world seeking love. All right, and it comes out it ended up being a very, very constructive conversation that leads to what? Solution. It seems as if we want to attack someone without even listening to why they're doing things and see where there's an equal medium to actually come together as the Most High said we must do. So what I'm going to do for you Academites this week, We're going to clip the Austin Holloman conversation that we had in the academy and put it there for Patreon. And I'm going to pick it up next week. Next week, Friday, I'll pick it up for my Lawya Academites on this particular topic and more. What particular topic? Oh, yeah, you like the shirt? Thank you. Well, Judah Lives Matter is only one of many. We got Israelites Matter, Israelites Lives Matter. We have Benjamin Lives Matter, Ephraim Lives Matter, Issachar Lives Matter, Naphtali Lives Matter, all 12 tribes. And we usually try to do it in, we're going to try to do it in the color of their particular demisole or where they live currently in the earth. So if their flag is a certain color, Ephraim, Puerto Rican, whatever the case is, who is Ephraim, we'll do Ephraim Lives Matter in their colors where they're predominantly, reside within the earth right now. So we're going to do that all over the earth for our brothers and sisters. And I hope you can all support this because the clothing goes into making more clothing for our brothers and sisters as we come closer to Zion. Jumping right in because I only got a few minutes before my meeting. Brothers and sisters will begin to file in about 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So I have a few moments to talk with you. This coming Sunday, we're going into the Hebrew Bible Academy, the history of Christianity, showing you how Christianity changed from what Christ originally set up, how the pagans were able to circumvent it and give Christ in the true doctrine, according to the Bible, a bad name. So many people are running away from Christianity right now because they believe what they're witnessing in the earth actually came from out of the Bible. But as you can see, there's many charlatans, evildoers, and Satanists within the ranks of Christianity, giving Christ a bad name. And that was intentional also. Christ warned us of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the record straight. We're going to show the true doctrinal setup before the Romans came in to destroy Jerusalem. And we're also going to go into this virgin birth like you've never seen before, with real life testimony from serious information the Romans had at that time concerning Christ's birth. Because why? His birth was in question at his last trial. Some was claiming that Christ was born through fornication. So there was witnesses who said, well, no, we know exactly who Christ's parents are. We know how Christ was born. We also understand he was not born through fornication, because these were the witnesses who were minded to put Mary away privately. Those who Joseph consulted with in Matthew 1 was at Christ's trial. I have the record. And I'm going to talk about that this Sunday to put all this virgin stuff to rest, because the Romans had this record but refused to allow it in because it conflicted with their virgin Babylonian Semiramis, or the goddess of Mithra and all that, and Mithraism, which is what? The cornerstone of modern day Babylonian Christianity. So I'm bringing the records. I'm bringing Eusebius this week. I'm also bringing the controversy of the genealogies. While the genealogies are different in Matthew than in Luke, we're going to resolve that. And we go into Christ's trial when they tried to claim he was born out of fornication. And we're going to bring the witnesses who were there to state they knew that Joseph and Mary was espoused. But they didn't want Mary to get killed. So they told Joseph to put her away. Well, the witnesses will be brought forth this Sunday in the Hebrew Bible Academy. You don't want to miss it. I have the record. And once we deal with this in the academy and lay it all out, I'm not going to forget you all. Everyone can't be in the academy. I understand that. So through time, after our school is over, I don't know when, but some of this information we'll actually discuss live on our weekly broadcast or even on the Sabbath. That and more. And I'm definitely going to bring the books this coming Sunday on Christianity and slam this lie called modern day Christianity. Now, Yes, yeah. Don't try this in a small town. Well, brothers and sisters, speaking of try this in a small town, right? Try this in a small town. It seems you must be, everyone, let me tell you, get skeptical when the news is pushing a particular story over and over and over again to incinerate people on racial lines. Understand when something is political. When something is political. We're minding our business and all of a sudden this all comes out. This psyop that does what? That get black people speaking things, claiming that there's racism going on. Not to say it isn't going on, but they're using this politically for their own reason. Because if they really cared about quelling racial divide and actually fixing the issues of racism, the politicians would outright give our people who built this country, foundational black Americans who we know are Judah, would give them reparations. So they're not really interested in solving racial issues. They're seeking to stoke racial issues because conflict leads to their order out of chaos. Now, you might have heard, brothers and sisters, all week about this guy by the name of Jason Aldean. Don't try this in a small town. It has racial undertones on how they used to chase black people out of their little towns and all this other stuff, just looking to quell racial conversation. Right? As if they care. Right? Don't try this in a small town. So they get everybody talking. Next thing you know, they was talking about this on The View, CNN, and all these others. Folks, I tend to like to look under the story to see what the Satanists are planning with these particular, what I would call political divisive psyops. Right? Because I'd have to look into this, right? This is political. So that they can do what? Incinerate black people to run out and vote what? Vote Democrat against the racist Republicans. Pandering to the most what? Politically inept people who only vote strictly on how they feel. That's all this is. Try this in a small town. Well, Mr. Aldean, I like to look at things from a more logical, historical standpoint. Because every time something politically is coming out, this guy pops up. See, and they know the majority of people out there have short attention spans. I remember this Aldean before. From 2017. See, you probably forgot about him. Every time they want to stoke racial divide or bring forth some legislation, this guy pops up. I wonder, is he a part of some organization? I don't know. He could be. Sometimes I pull strings that shouldn't be pulled, but let's connect the dots real quick. 2017, where do we hear of Jason Aldean? Oh, I know, Grammy Awards. There he is. Jason Aldean pens heartfelt letter following Las Vegas shooting. October 2017. See, I like to connect dots that people usually forget about. Because I was actually in the area of Las Vegas when all this happened, folks. And there was a lot of questions on the ground concerning that. But we did know that there was some legislation that was seeking to get passed on gun control at the same time. We do know that. Right before they voted on gun control, this happened in Las Vegas. And who was there? Who was the performer at Las Vegas at the hotel where the shooting happened. It so happened to have been good old boy Jason Aldean. And see, brothers and sisters, this is why I say you cannot listen to the psyops. Because on one side, he's being used for the Republicans, right? He's being used for the Republicans, try this in a small town, to stoke racial divide against blacks and whites. But then on the other hand, he's dealing with a liberal standpoint. That's right, the Las Vegas shooting, because through this, gun control may come into play. So he's playing both sides of the fence. So I wonder who's utilizing him on either side. See, don't try this in a small town. Don't try to put something over on those who are looking from the watchtower, seeing the deceit that they use to trigger people's emotions politically throughout the earth. Is he for the Republicans or the Democrats? If he was really for the good old boys, he wouldn't be talking about anything concerning the Las Vegas shooting, because that was utilized for gun control, which is the left. Are you following me? Now, speaking of the left and the right, Maui at the same time. Listen to me and listen to me good. This particular person right here, Maui. Hey, brothers and sisters, see this guy right here? John Pelletier is the police chief in Maui right now. But guess where he was during the Las Vegas shooting? You would never guess where he was during the Las Vegas shooting. He was the incident commander right here. He was the incident commander during the Los Angeles shooting. He's a police chief now in Maui, over here, but he was the incident controller during the 2017 Las Vegas shooting. That's not a coincidence. It's not alleged. It's true. Right? So I wanted to go into this on Patreon, brothers and sisters, so I can actually connect the dots for you to let you know that there were serious journalists on YouTube who would follow these people through incidents, and it's actually a label that's placed on these people who come up in all these different stories. There's a label for these people that drives the progressive New World Order's agenda. And they could possibly be moved from one incident to the next. And unless you put the connect the dots, you'll believe these are all individual, unconnected scenarios. And that's why we're watching. Above all, God is watching. And that's why I utilize the Bible to help brothers and sisters through this. Don't get triggered through the news. Only believe what you see in front of you when the computer's turned off and when the television is turned off. If it's not around you and it's not happening, it isn't happening. You can fall for the delusion or the wand that comes from Hollywood, if you would like. Hollywood was the Celtic wood for wizards, where the Celtics would use the Hollywood to cast spells of delusion on the people, to cast spells. So I put this out there to say, don't try this in a small town. Don't try to lie to those who see the truth. Now, before I go, let me read this, because Christ said that this would happen. And I believe that the citizenry of the world isn't acting fast enough for them to bring forth their agenda. So a lot of these stories out there, these engineered stories, pushes things along when the majority of the citizenry are not participating in their agendas. So when things aren't going fast enough for them, here comes an event out of nowhere to trigger your emotions. Folks, sit back and don't react at all. They'll have a white woman come out. Y'all really got to know what he means in code. Don't try this in a small town. We don't even know if she allegedly is from the same circles he's from, to trigger you emotionally into these progressive stories that lead to what? Them destroying everyone. Ignore it. If they don't pour your heart and emotions into it, they cannot what? Go forward in their progression against us. Believe nothing unless you see it with your own eyes. It doesn't matter how believable TV or the media might make it seem. Last but not least. Last but not least. Oh, you know, brothers and sisters, I'll be coming with the goods. But here it is. Matthew 24:7 reads this. At the very end. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Right? And when you look at that word nation against nation, right? It tells us, that's ethnos. That's what? Let me show you. Ethnos, which is what? Ethnos, which is what? A race. A what? A race. Race against race. So the enemy is using these hot button stories, George Floyd and others, to stoke racial divide, to actually politicize and lead to what? Overall, a race war that will be all nations against our people suffering in the ghettos. Race. So the media isn't trying to quell race or stop things from happening. They don't really care about us, folks. The liberals, neither do the conservatives care about us. Okay? Race war is what they're stoking, they're fermenting. And Christ said this would happen. But guess what? It can only be a war if you're willing to do what? Believe it and step in carnally to fight against a war they're fermenting. See? It can only happen if you participate. That's why I told people, don't go out to those protests. Don't believe anything they're saying. Let it happen without you so that we can see the true operators behind the curtain. As long as you come out there, they're going to use your protest, your energy, and all of that as the spearhead for it all while they reap the benefits. And at the end of that, at the end of it, you're looking like the criminals. You're looking like the looters. You're looking like everything bad, even though it came out that we were the victims beforehand. Every victimizing situation, we're the victims. They utilize our dissent. They utilize our protest. And at the end of us actually being victims, we become the criminals. Don't participate. Don't participate. Politically, on either side, if I've shown anything today, they are working together. It's nothing for them to flip-flop parties in their interests against us. If I didn't show you this today, you would have never known that James Aldean, 2017, was actually utilizing, was speaking, speaking in favor of certain legislation for gun control, which is a democratic issue. So now he's a good old boy. They're playing with y'all, folks. They're not just playing with our people, they're playing with their people too. They're stoking racial divide. Okay? That's why I don't form opinions generally on one race or the other. I deal with my own interactions to make what? To make an educated, logical decision, an experienced decision on whether or not someone is good or evil, whether they be Israelites or Gentiles. They're stoking a race war, folks. And you know what? We're going to sit back like our God say do. We're going to watch it. We're going to give this a heavenly view like the angels are giving it. And watch mankind out of their mind, not realizing they're being controlled, utterly decimate one another. Because why? They're destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Do not get triggered emotionally about these race-baiting news pieces anymore, folks. They're playing with you. They're pulling on your strings. Okay? Like I said, if they really cared about racial divides and what's going on with the underprivileged, they would have given our people reparations in America a long time ago. Okay? If you can give money to Holocaust survivors, if you give money to those who was internment camps, the Japanese internment camps, if you can give money to the Ukrainians and all that, you could give, if you can give $12 billion to asylum seekers who have nothing to do with the country, who haven't built the country, why can't you do that for Judah in America? Brothers and sisters, do not fall for it. They cannot try this. They can try to get over on you, but don't try this in a small town. And what is that? Getting over on those who see them for who they are. They are of their father, the devil. All right, brothers and sisters, I'm at the top of the hour about to go into my meeting. I love you all. Have a great Sabbath. I hope to see you all soon in the academy where we reveal Christ's counsel. That's right. The witnesses who were there at Christ's birth also gave a testimony on his birth at his trial. They knew Joseph and Mary. That and more this Sunday. Have a blessed Sabbath. The lesson tomorrow will be great for the Sabbath. Stay prayed up, sin not. Continue to support the church, and you know we all love you. And guess what, folks? It won't be too long. It won't be too long, brothers and sisters, before we'll be discussing the Babylonian bounce. Getting your paperwork together and do what? Expanding your options outside of Babylon. That conversation and more will be coming in the very near future. Stick around. Stick around. Stay here for the ride. And this ride started throughout the four corners of the earth in Babylon, literally, but will end in Zion, in that wilderness. And folks, that's where the real epic conflict truly begins between our people. When I say between our people, in the wilderness, there will be a conflict of Israelites. Yeah. There will be a conflict of Israelites in the wilderness. This is not going to have anything to do with Gentiles. Yeah. I'm going to be talking about that. So with that, may the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up, sin not. I love you all. I'm here in the same place we do the academy. Stay strong, pray for us. And may the Most High bless you all, heal you, and keep you on the path towards righteousness until we're all together in Christ's kingdom. But first, we have to make it to that wilderness. With that, stay prayed up, sin not. We will soon see Zion. And keep in mind, the Most High is calling back Israel. Shalom.
The east is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. We're escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. The highest gathering in Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint to gather our wives and children, then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gatherer in Colombia, Reuben from Australia.